Hi, this is Andrea from Michigan. Welcome to the Doctor's Call that we have at noon on Tuesday each week. This week, me and a few of my friends have been watching a docu-series about the broken brain. It's amazing to learn that we can restore the brain health with lifestyle changes and supplements. It tied right into our formulation of the age pill from Tom, and we have been seeing some pretty amazing signs of results internally from people supplementing with the age pill. And I understand, Dr. Kurt, we will have an information-packed call today. 2 doctors besides you, and both are Sisel representatives. Take it away.
You bet. Well, thanks, Andrea, for being on the call and helping us get this thing going. And my name is Dr. Kurt Visnick. I'm a chiropractor. Actually, I don't practice chiropractic. I kind of started switching out of chiropractic almost 20 years ago and really got into the field of anti-aging, really before it even became popular. And I tell people that when you think about anti-aging, it's kind of a misnomer, because if you mean anti, it means you're not, and we're all aging. So if you're not aging, that means you're dying. So really, what we're talking about is age reversal. How do we reverse the age rather than how do we anti-age? And so that's what I like to tell people and kind of get their attention a little bit. But today, I've had a lot of people calling me and ask me, hey, can you guys talk about autoimmune disorders? Can you specifically talk about multiple sclerosis? And I had put a post on Facebook here, I want to say about a month ago, saying that there were some exciting studies from Harvard that went through it, and how some of the ingredients that we have in the age pill can make a difference. And we have to say it that way. We can't say that, the age pill does this or it does that, because we're not a company that does clinical research. We don't go out and find people to join the study and then do collaborate the research and do all of that. So really what we do is we report on the research of the active ingredients that are found in our products. And so when you talk about it, when you talk about this call, you want to make sure and you just say, based on the research of the active ingredients. That's how you want to say it. And that way you don't ever get yourself in trouble, and nobody's ever going to ask you for your clinical papers, your white papers on your product. But Dr. Kim from up in Michigan, you joined me today. Are you there?
Why do I have to join you? Are you a part?
Like Humpty Dumpty. I was 10 years ago.
Sorry about that. I can't pass up a straight line. It's a pain of my existence. But yeah, I'm
right.
Here.
Abbott and Costello.
Yeah.
So,
hey,
much. Over the years, wouldn't you say in your practice, you've been in practice about the same amount of time that I have, haven't you seen just a lot more autoimmune conditions, people coming in with stuff that just totally weird from when you first started practice?
Oh, absolutely. The whole thing has changed. We're seeing a lot more things like MS and, of course, a lot more cancer, and just weird things, because, well, I think we're just inundated with toxins in our environment that are really affecting, all of us to some degree, and of course some more to others. Some people, their immune system is much stronger, and conversely, some are weaker. So, we're seeing some really weird stuff these days.
Oh, Dr. Kim, I'll tell you, when I first got into practice, I remember I'd go and adjust people, and I could see results, just 1-2 adjustments, you were seeing all kinds of results, and it was great. I loved it, and that was back in the day before insurance didn't cover chiropractic, and and we got paid. I think at that time we were charging $18 per treatment, and it was just great because we get people well. They'd refer their friends in, and you build a practice. Then all of a sudden, I think within the first 5 to 10 years of being in practice, I started seeing that people were coming in with a little bit more weird conditions, a little bit more chronic conditions. They weren't responding as quickly. What took 2 or 3 adjustments, now it took 6 or 7 adjustments, and I just kept seeing it, and then I started seeing more people with asthma and allergies and MS and Lou Gehrig's disease, and we're seeing more people, like you said, with cancer, and we're seeing more people with all sorts of conditions. And like Dr. Kim said, we've both been in practice about 30 years now, and just in that short time, because 30 years is a relatively short time, almost everybody suffers from some sort of autoimmune condition now. They may not know it, but they suffer from it, and the CDC lists over 80 different autoimmune conditions, 80 different ones that they've named, and actually there's more than that. They just haven't named them yet. But Dr. Kim, have you seen this research from the Women's Hospital, the Brigham and Women's Hospital at Harvard Medical School?
I haven't seen it. I know you were alluding to it, and I just haven't had time to go grab it and take a look at it. So hopefully you can share a little bit of that with us.
So, yeah, I'm just going to tell you. So what they found was this Dr. Stephan Tullius, he was the author of this, and he said that you can tune in the autoimmune response and restore tissue integrity by activating stem cells. That's really the title of his article. I mean, isn't it just listen to that title? It sounds like, hey, I want to know more about that.
Absolutely.
So
we're hearing more and
what
more
they
about
found,
stem cells. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and so what they found is that it wasn't just pain relief, but they found that it restores the quality of life of these people. And again, for those of you listening to the call, that's something that you want to learn how to say. You can improve someone's quality of life. That way you don't have to say cure or treat or anything like that, but how'd you like to improve your quality of life, restore the quality of life, and bring it back to the original genetic potential that you had and reverse some of these conditions? And they found that it's an incredible molecule. It's called NAD, NAD+. Isn't that cool, Dr. Kim? Andrea, isn't that cool that they found that?
Nicotinamide
Amazing.
adenosine dinucleotide.
There you go.
Say that 3 times real fast.
Right? And where do you find this NAD?
In the
Dr.
cell.
Kim.
In
Every
the
cell. Yeah.
Every single one.
Yeah, and so what happens to most of us is that it's like you're driving your car to the gas station, and instead of putting in the high potency premium gasoline, you're dumping in half kerosene and diesel fuel, and you're filling your tank half of that and half with gas. It's just not going to work right, is it? I mean, it might run,
No,
but it's not going to work right.
absolutely.
And after a while,
the interesting thing is that you can't, if you're depleted in NAD, you can't take NAD to increase your NAD. Did you know that? You knew that.
You can't take it. Why is that?
No, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
There's only one. Well, the only way you can take it is you have to hook yourself up and do it IV for 2 or 3 hours a day. Who can do that?
Right?
Right?
I'm sure there are some people, but
yeah, very, very few. But so the
I
only way
hate needles, so it's not me.
Yeah, the only way to stimulate and to increase the amount of NAD in the cell, which will have a myriad of beneficial effects to your overall well-being, is through taking an NAD precursor. Right? So
exactly.
What is a really good NAD precursor, Dr. Kurt?
Well, that's what I was just reading about this morning, and that's what they were talking about, is that, just like you said, I mean, every single cell will die if it doesn't have NAD. When somebody, a week ago, they told me, oh, I'm allergic to NAD. I'm like, well, I don't think you are, but possible. I mean, there's people who are allergic to everything, I guess, but most time they're not. But anyhow, your body has to have the precursors, and what that really means is that it's the building blocks. You're giving the body the building blocks. But what happens is as the human body ages, it has a little bit of a drawback. Part of the aging process is that conversion into NAD plus just doesn't happen as often, and the less that gets produced, the less there is to fuel the energy production. And also what they're finding now is that the immune system really starts to suffer, and the regulation of the immune system is where it really starts to suffer. And so things like tryptophan, right? And Dr. Kim, where have you heard of tryptophan?
Oh, when I hear about it after dinner on Thanksgiving. Right?
On Thanksgiving, yeah. It's a molecule that's found in turkey, and they found that when you eat a bunch of turkey, the tryptophan makes you tired because it's converted into serotonin. Serotonin is the feel-good neurotransmitter, the chemical in your brain, and all of a sudden people start to get sleepy and tired. But there's more than that too, involved with the whole Thanksgiving thing. But there is a lot of tryptophan in turkey and red meat, especially red meat. I used to work with people that had tryptophan, serotonin deficiency diseases, and we would give them the equivalent tryptophan. We'd give them the equivalent of eating 8 steaks a day.
Wow.
Yeah, or 18 eggs, which are their choice.
Yeah. That's a lot of eggs. That's a lot of steak.
But
I think I could do it, but.
Yeah, but what we did is we gave it to them in a pill form, so we just gave them the ingredients that they needed from the eggs or the steak. We didn't have to give them the whole thing, so we give them 8 of these capsules that had them in there, and we were able to do that. But so the body just doesn't convert it as well, and so the scientists discovered something about 10 years ago called nicotinamide riboside, and it's a form of vitamin B3. And the body can easily convert it into NAD plus, and so as we're kind of I'm not going to get into the whole science of nicotinamide riboside, NAD, and things like that, but at this Harvard study, in the experiment that they did, they took mice that they had created the same thing as MS. They created an autoimmune condition that causes the nerve pain, the muscle weakness, the sore achy joints, and it causes the body to actually attack the myelin sheaths, which is the covering. It's the insulation that surrounds the nerve. And then what they did is they took and they wanted to find out what would happen when they gave them injections of NAD plus, and then the other group, the control group, just received a placebo. And what they found is that when they gave the mice that had this MS, this NAD plus injection, what happened is that the cells, the immune cells that were attacking the nerves, went from being destructive autoimmune cells to actually turning into protective immune cells. So the cells that were attacking the nervous system actually started to protect the nervous system. And then what happened was after it reestablished the balance in the immune system, so now it's a balanced immune system, what happened was that the same cells that had been attacking now not only protected, but they went back and they actually started to repair the same nerve cells, the same neurons that they had been damaging. I mean, isn't that exciting stuff, Dr. Kim?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
The body is such an amazing piece of machinery, right? And understanding
we're just a bag of chemicals that what happens, the chemicals gets mixed up.
It's fascinating. You just got to give it the right tools, right?
That's right. So these doctors in China then, they said, well, one study doesn't mean anything. So they went and did the same thing, and they took and they looked at the role of NAD plus, and they looked at the SIRT1 proteins, and they were looking at to see if they could recreate it. And what they found is that the immune response in the mice changed and the nerves repaired, just like the Harvard study. Then, to confirm it one more time, researchers at the University of Maryland, they found that they could do the exact same thing, and they could reverse joint and muscle pain, chronic conditions that cause nerve and brain cell damage. Then in another study at University of Maryland, they tested the effects of the neuroprotective benefits of SIRT1 and the NAD. So all the studies that they've done, there's 4 studies right there that shows that you can deactivate the autoimmune response, right? And we're talking primarily today about MS, just because multiple sclerosis, just because we had a bunch of people that were asking about it. But think about the possibilities of all these other autoimmune problems, you know, like colitis, right, and asthma, and rheumatoid arthritis, and lupus, and all these other conditions, right? I mean, there's, like I said, there's 84 diseases, so I could spend the rest of the half hour talking about all the different diseases. But I just thought this is really cool. And will there be more studies? Yeah, they're saying right now that that they're doing studies on NAD, and they're saying that almost every autoimmune condition would have results from that, and it's just amazing stuff. And what happens is that your cells just can't produce energy when they don't have enough of this NAD, and when it has less energy, what happens is that your cells can't do their job, right? It's like going to a factory and finding out that every single one of the welders is sick today and none of them showed up. Well, I don't care what kind of a factory you have. If you don't have any welders and they can't weld and nobody's there doing it, the production line's going to stop. And that's what happens in your cells, is that, you know, it just stops. And some cells only have one mitochondria, and the mitochondria, think of it like the nuclear power plant of your cell. But some cells have 2,500 mitochondria per cell, and those are the muscle cells and those are the brain cells, right? So if you're going to be affected by not having NAD, it makes sense that it's going to be the neurons, it's going to be the muscle, and that's where we start seeing that people with autoimmune disorders, boom, what's the first thing they start to have? Kind of that foggy thinking. They start to have problems with that, and, you know, dementia and forgetting things, and so then you start losing the ability to actually convert these building blocks into NAD. So now you've got more problems. So you might be actually taking the building block, the precursor, but you don't have the energy in your body to actually convert it. So now you start to have problems like high blood sugar. You start to have problems like weight gain. You start to have problems like cardiovascular inflammation, loss of muscle strength. You have slower thinking. Dr. Kim, is that part of your problem? Are you still there?
Sounds like we
Yes,
lost him.
yeah, I'm here. Thank you. And thank you for noticing, by the way, and I appreciate you pointing that out, Dr. Kurt.
Yeah, well, somebody had to.
Yeah, listen, I was going to have my one of my patients on. I don't know if I actually don't know if he's on or not. And Mike, if you are on, hit star 6, unmute
Star
yourself.
6, yeah, Mike, jump on.
I don't know if he made it on. He's been a patient of mine for many years. He was a carpenter. He actually is the guy that built my office out many years ago. And he's been dealing with MS for 25, 26 years. And he tried some of the medications many years ago, and they just made him feel terrible. So he said, "I'm not doing any more medications." And so he's just been doing it on his own. We got him on a few things years ago. It really helped him, and I had been urging him to start with the H pill. And about, I guess, maybe 3 weeks ago, he finally said, "Okay, I'll do it." So he started taking it, and after about a week, 10 days, he came in the office, and he was beaming. He man, this stuff's really making some significant changes. He said all the pain he'd been having in his hips was gone. His grip strength was improving. And he listed a number of things. I'm sorry he's not on the call right now, but if we
Mike, are you there? Star 6.
No, I talked to him about a half hour ago, and he said he'd be on, so I hope he's all right. Anyways,
yeah, you'll have to get him on next week to have him share. But yeah, tell us what kind of results he's getting.
Well, that's it. His pain level has just gone down. He said he'd been having a lot of pain in his hips, walking, even sitting, and he said that just completely went away. He had no more pain in his hips, his knees, any of the lower extremities. He had a kind of a numbness tingling in his hands and very little grip strength, and his grip strength is returning. The numbness and tingling have diminished tremendously. His speech has improved a lot. So he's had, and it's only been 3 weeks, so we're anxious to see, what transpires over the next, few months with him on the pill. So it can make some significant changes in supporting, cell function and regeneration. It's I told somebody the other day, they asked me about the H pill, and I said I've been around nutritional stuff for 40-some years, and I have never seen any one formula that is such an exciting formula as this H pill, because it does so many neat things for people. And that, you can't tell somebody what it's going to do for them. You guys kind of have to convince them to try to take it for a few months, 2 or 3 months, and then they'll come back and tell you. But you'll be amazed at what they tell you. It really did make some significant changes. So.
Oh, it really does. And now Harvard Medical is actually coming out, and they're making some claims. Again, we can't, but they can, and they're making some claims, and they're saying that they believe that they can reverse neuropathy, diabetic neuropathy, but now they're saying chemo-induced neuropathy. So those people that that have had some chemo and they end up with that numbness, that tingling down their leg. Wow. You could
well, one of my distributors, friend of mine down in Florida, he started one of his buddies on the H pill. He's diabetic, and he said within 7 days his neuropathy was resolved. I mean, he just was gone, and his blood sugar was normalizing. So it's significant stuff.
Yeah. Well, I think the biggest problem that we're seeing, Dr. Kim, is that a lot of people, they go, well, I'm just going to go over here and I'm going to buy some over here, and they go online and they go on Amazon and they start looking for it because they think that they're going to find something cheaper, and they, because the old adage that people think that, it's from a network marketing company, therefore, it's more expensive. But you can't buy a more potent bioavailable source of nicotinamide riboside. You can't, and that's not all we have in our product. We've got the tryptophan that we talked about. We've got the vitamin B3. We've got a lot of other things that actually work alongside, and they work to repair the sirtuin genes at the same time. And the sirtuin genes are the genes that actually repair your chromosomes, because every day, every single one of your chromosomes is getting hit. Think of it like getting hit by a missile, and it's breaking that double helix chain that's inside your every cell. And what it's doing is it's breaking that, and then something's got to put it back together. Otherwise, we'd have all these broken up genetic codes, and so it's putting it back together. And that's the job of the sirtuin genes, which is partially fueled by the nicotinamide riboside NAD reaction. It's fueled by the resveratrol that we find in our Eternity product. That really, I mean, you got to go back and listen to that call. and how we find that when Bill talks about how the nicotinamide, or I mean the resveratrol, you just can't get it from any other source. I mean, Tom has figured out how to get the resveratrol into a bottle, into a good tasting product, where you only have to take a 3/4 ounce shot glass a day, and you're getting the dosage that you need to kind of really support this whole sirtuin gene, and the two together. You know, when you take the age pill and you take the Eternity together, and to me, it's just like it's a 1-2 punch on that repair of those chromosomes. Or supporting the repair of those chromosomes. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really impressed by what Tom has done with the formulations, and I have to admit I'm still learning about them and how to use them properly. But it will happen hopefully by the time they put me in the home. But I'm working on it.
You know, I'll tell you what, Doc. I'm 55 right now. My goal is to live to be 110, so I'm only halfway there. And you'll do the same. You start reading up on what Tom's put together here, and it really does make that kind of difference. That all of a sudden, where people start thinking, "Oh man, my life is almost over." I look at my mom and dad. My dad turned 80 just a month ago, and my mom is just a couple years younger than that. I was having lunch with them 2 days ago, and everything has just changed. Their whole life has changed since using these products. In January of 2016, the doctors at Mayo Clinic told my dad, better think about packing your bags, and they were telling them, mentioning things like liver transplant. They were talking about kidney dialysis, and they were talking about this cancer cell and that cancer cell and all these different things. And again, I can't make any claims, but from January of 2016 to January of 2018. You go take a look at my dad, and he's not even close to what he was like two years ago. And the mom and dad are planning vacations again. Instead of planning funerals, they're planning vacations. Dr. Kim, isn't that?
Yeah,
wouldn't that just be exciting?
That is exciting, and to highlight what you said there, and it's really important because it took some time for their folks to reach a point where they're doing as well as they're doing. I mean, it didn't happen overnight. And as a practitioner, I'm sure you can relate back to those days where you give somebody a nutritional product and they come back a week later and say, "Well, it didn't help me or it didn't work for me." I mean, geez, oh Pete, people can be so. It's so good that it'll work in a day or two. So you've got to commit to using stuff, and doing it religiously and consistently over a period of time to get the results. And don't be impatient, and urge your yeah. It's really important. But I've noticed with the Sisel products since I've been using them that people do stay with it for whether I beat it into their head they have to, or it's just the fact that they do notice some changes fairly quickly. Most people stay with it, so that's really encouraging.
Yeah, it really is. It really is, because I just tell people, I tell them, get on this product, take it. If you're over the age of 40, take a double dose and do that for at least 90 days. For those under the age of 40, you can take the double dose if you want, but you don't have to. Where after the age of 40, you really want to get the results, because it's cleaning up the mess that you've created. And we've all created a mess inside of ourselves. Dr. Kim started off when he got on the call today talking about toxicity. We're exposed to so many toxins. There's been so many new chemicals that have been introduced into our planet, into our environment in the last 50 years that it's just amazing. And so many of them got grandfathered in where, oh, no, we're not going to study that. It's been around for a long time. And now they're finding that shouldn't have done that. But a lot of these chemicals are just really starting to come to light, that they cause these chronic health issues. And and we really are eating a lot of frankenfoods here in our country, and foods that are just a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and it's all manipulated, and it's just not good. And so things like the age pill. What Tom's formulated there is he's put together a product that really, compared to anything that's on the market, in my opinion, I would say it's probably 2,500 times stronger than any other product of its in its category. And I mean that. When you look at the science, I would say about 2,500 times more powerful than anything else that's in its category. And some people might say, well, wait, that's too much. Well, according to the studies done at University of Iowa, I'm going to say no, it's not. So anyhow, Dr. Kim, Andrea, everybody that's on the call, it's the bottom of the hour, and we really went through this half hour really quickly. And I was going to cover a little bit of things that I had read on a NBC newsletter where they're talking about better health, and so we'll bring this up next week. But they talk about the 5 most commonly believed fitness myths, things that are holding you back in the gym, misconceptions that might be sabotaging you. Because right now, guess what? It's weight loss season. It's weight loss season here in the United States. Everybody's on their kick. It's the 3rd week of January. Chances are 5%, 10% of people have already given up on their New Year's resolutions. They just decided already it's not working. I'm going to quit. And we'll lose another, in a month, we'll lose another, probably 25% of those people. And by this time, 2 months from now, we'll probably lose 50% or better. And by April, of course, we've lost 80% of people who have just given up. So, maybe we can give some ideas that we can prevent you from doing that. So any final thoughts, Dr. Kim, Andrea?
Not for me. Only to remind you that you're 55. I actually have a bruise older than that. So be proud of the fact you're still a young guy.
There you go. All right.
Have a great day.
Great call. Great call.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good one. Bye-bye.